Okay, my outstanding friends, another day at Mud Fossil University and looking into the problems of the world. What are the problems and what are the solutions? Because there is solutions to problems. Every problem has a solution. Sometimes it's not a comfortable solution, sometimes it is. What's the story with burn pits? These are a disaster, absolute unmitigated disaster. And we did this in other people's countries. We would never allow this in our country. They just piled everything they could pile up there and just burnt it. Listen to what it has to say about burn pits. Now, and then I'm going to explain to you why the people are so sick and what we can do about it. If it's possible, we're going to find out. Now listen to this.
What are the dangers of burn pit exposure? As explained by Kristen Hurt, claims advocate. What are burn pits? Burn pits are open-air, uncontrolled areas used by the U.S. military and military contractors, primarily in Iraq and Afghanistan military sites. Historically, open-air burn pits have been a means to dispose of metal, rubber, chemicals, paint, medical waste, munitions, and unexploded ordnance, petroleum products, human waste, plastics, and various other forms of waste. When these different forms of waste are burned together, the burn pit emits toxic substances and carcinogens. Without containment, the airborne pollutants and carcinogens can spread and lead to long-term medical conditions due to toxic exposure. The high level of dust and other existing air pollutants in the area further compound the effects of burn pits. Burn pit exposure symptoms and health effects. With the various amounts and types of waste burn, the smoke released may be made up of any number of toxic chemicals.
All right, let's stop it right there for now because that's the key. Any number of toxic chemicals. And what is toxicity? Let's talk about that. All right, we make a lot of wars. And we bring a lot of stuff over there when we do that, and then we just have a bunch of junk that has to be burnt up or something has to happen to it. And then what they do, they just put it in a big pile and burn it. Now, everybody that's around there, including our guys, the residents that live there, everybody is affected by this. And these are chemicals that would never exist in nature. There's lithium ion, this and that, and explosives and C4. And I mean, who the hell knows what's in there that they're burning? And they're just letting it go. It's paint and toxins of all kinds and chemicals and everything. Now, the people that are ingesting this, their immune system, the bacteria in their immune system specifically, is the bacteria has to create cocktails of things to break this stuff down. It never saw this stuff before. It can't really do that. And because of that, the bacteria that normally lives there they're going to die. When that bacteria dies, they become invaded. And you're going to see the list of invasions that happens to them. Now, the takeaway from this is, toxins, yes, absolutely 100% toxins. However, your body normally can fight against toxins. If they know what kind of toxins they are, if they're natural toxins, they normally can do it. I mean, you can be just slathered with so many natural toxins, there's nothing you can do about it. True. And in this case, there's nothing you can do about it because it's complicated because these aren't natural toxins. Your body, first of all, doesn't even know how to break that stuff down. So it's really fighting against this stuff hard. And every bit of your body, the bacteria, has to deal with these because you're ingesting this stuff. I don't care what you say. You breathe it in, you eat the food that the stuff lands on, you're walking around in the air, and you know, it's just all over you. You can't stop being away from this. Even though you may think you're in a clearer area, you're still not. There's still going to be some residue hanging around, and these guys are there for a year at a time, I think. So, or whatever they're there for. You can be there for a week and end up being in absolute destroyed your health. Can we fix that? I think we might be able to by repopulating their body with the correct types of bacteria, but we don't know what to do right now. You'll see. I'm going to try to elaborate this the best I can because this is really important. And it's not only important for our guys, it's important to go over there and help the people that are living amongst what we did. All right, here's the conditions that you can have. These are the symptoms after being exposed to these burn pits. The toxins and smoke emitted from burn pits may affect the skin, obviously, because you're in that, the eyes, obviously, the respiratory system, you're breathing it in. Once you breathe it in, it can get to your cardiovascular system and specifically the gastrointestinal tract. That's the key right there. Burn pit exposure has caused long-term health concerns such as, and then they go through the whole list, and every one of these I can explain with the problem of toxins invading the interstitium. And I'm going to show you the interstitium in a second and how you're protected from these invasive chemicals. And once these invasive chemicals kill the bacteria that protects you, you're in trouble. There's no protection for you. Here's the associated risks. Listen to this. These are the conditions in the Middle East burn pit. Reduced central nervous system function. That's because it's attacked the synovial sheathing in the interstitial layer that controls your nerves. Reduced liver and kidney function. Anytime you have bacteria that's destroyed, the bacteria is supposed to do the chemistry to function with your kidneys and your liver and your everything else. Your stomach, respiratory, skin cancer. These are invasions of the tissue because of a burning type of toxin that breaks through the skin. And lesions, they're lesions. Leukemia, chronic bronchitis, it's breaking through your lung tissues. Cardiovascular conditions, it's damaging the flexible parts of your interstitium that has to pulse with your heart. There's different types of collagens. They attack the collagens. All of these things, autoimmune disorders, absolutely, because you're trying to become immune and you can't because you don't have anything to fight back. Autoimmune means you got bacteria that's in there automatically making you immune. Well, they're gone, so you lost it. Crohn's disease, that's your gut. That's the bacteria that's in your gut. If your bacteria in your gut is bad, you have Crohn's disease. Case closed. Infertility is another issue of invasion of tissues that create sperm and so forth. Migraines, absolutely, that's another invasion of the nervous system. Throat infections, naturally, because you have those toxic chemicals chewing through your throat tissue, basically. Eczema, yes, that's your skin condition. Every single one of these conditions is, in multiple sclerosis too, is attached to bacteria. Primarily, it's once your gut loses the ability to process the bacteria and break down your foods correctly and create the slime and the mucus and the catalysts and the enzymes in these layers, you no longer are protected. You are just one big source of invasion. Okay, before we even get started, we have to define what is sickness. Well, the guy's sick. What does that mean? The guy's not feeling good. He's sick. Why? Why is he sick? Well, he doesn't feel good. He's throwing up. He's doing this. He's doing that. Well, why is that happening? He's being invaded. There is no disease that exists in you or anyone that is not an invasion of tissue. That's it, case closed. You cannot be invaded if your mucosa and your skin and all of your membranes are totally intact. You cannot be invaded. You are 100% bulletproof immune. However, once you start having chemistry that attacks these layers of membranes, that's how you get stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 cancer. You're dying. It's breaking through your protective membrane. And what is that membrane protected by? Is you think it's just cells? No. Bacteria. Bacteria live in these membranes. They protect you. Good bacteria protects you. People have been taking antibiotics. You need probiotics. And these layers now don't have any protection left in them. And people don't realize it. They get sick. They never repopulate this layer. They're going to be sick forever. Those are what's called long haulers. Those are people that's called pre-existing conditions. Those are people that are predisposed to every kind of infection because they have holes in their membranes. Now, I just want to make it clear. I am not against antibiotics when they are required, yes. However, we need to repopulate your probiotics after that, or you may not even need them Well, you shouldn't, boy. Okay, I just want to make it clear. I'm not 100% against antibiotics at all. I am for probiotics 100%. The antibiotics are only necessary if you are getting invaded, and you shouldn't be getting invaded a whole lot and need antibiotics because you're not invadable. If your tissues are good and your membranes are good and your bacteria is growing in here, it'll slime the thing away, and if it can't, it'll kill it. I'm going to be showing all this. Okay, my friends, we got a serious issue going on right now, and it's the people that were involved in burning all of the garbage and things that we had over in Iraq and Afghanistan and places where we go to create wars. I'm not in favor of that, trust me. But I need to be able to try to help these people. And I think I can. I think there is hope for these people. And they are offering them no hope whatsoever because they don't understand the conditions. And I think I do. And it's all involved in invasion of tissues. It's not just that they took a bunch of toxins and they were around them and now they're sick forever. No. It's they've killed the bacteria that are in their body that protect them. They have to be repopulated. I think that may help a lot of them. I can't say for all of them. I can't say for any of them. But we can try. All right, what you have to understand is what they are burning in these pits will never ever be found in nature. You have no defenses against these toxins when they get into your body other than the bacteria that's in your body, trying to figure out how to break that down with chemistry. And bacteria will figure it out and they will break it down, but not quick enough in these burn pit areas. You're just completely overwhelmed. And every single one of these diseases and every single one of these issues is fully understood by me. I totally understand what's happening here. And it's every one of these is an invasion. The Crohn's disease and the autoimmune disorders and the gastrointestinal issues are the major contributors. Let me explain exactly why. All right, first of all, I want to explain, this is very new research. This is interstitial. They never even realized this was a system in your body. It's now been discovered as a new organ system as of 2018. And this organ system is an interstitial fluid highway. These fluid bags are not contained in these bags. They flow through your system. And what is in these fluid bags is the bacteria. And it's called, these are membranes. This is called a membrane-bound bacterias. They live here. This is their domain. And they protect this layer. And they take care of the chemistry that does a ton of different things. And what does it do, Roger? Here's what it does. And I'm going to show you this actually happening in real time. They live in here, and there's a certain bacteria that go out and they sniff around for things coming in that can damage you. They come back and alert. They don't do anything other than that. They don't eat anything. They just sort of, they must consume something to stay alive if they're bacteria. So, but they're not real. They're looking at two different things. They're looking at one that's just a scout and he just nibbles on a little stuff to stay alive. Then there's other ones that gobble up stuff they think. No, they're collecting stuff to go out and deliver it, which is toxins, enzymes, catalysts, mucus, and that's what they do when they sense a problem out here. The sniffer comes back and says, hey, we got an issue. And he says, what's the problem? He says, well, we got a guy out here that's doing this or that. And, oh, yeah, we've seen him before. Just sends out some slime. They send out the slime, boop, the guy's gone. Case is closed. Next time, the guy comes back, he says, whoa, we got a real problem out here. I said, what's going on? He said, well, there's a chemical out here called, and it ends with a COVID-19. He said, holy smokes, never saw that before. What are we going to do? He said, I don't know, send out a bunch of guys and see what you can do with it. And they go out and they figure out the chemistry, and eventually they will overcome those and kill them if you're not penetratable. So if you have no invasive areas in your body, you should be able to basically let those things go through you to some degree. They're going to invade you if they have a plot, and that's called pre-existing conditions. Oh yeah, obviously he got sick, he's got pre-existing conditions. Well, pre-existing conditions means you have holes in your membranes throughout your body. Where would they be? They're going to be wherever the bacteria that is supposed to be resident in that specific area. And that bacteria is dead. Or it's weak. There's just not enough of it to produce enough slime, enough catalyst. Now, why would there be different bacteria in different areas? All right, your throat has a certain type of bacteria. Your intestines, small and large intestines, your colon, all the rectum, all different types of bacteria. Your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your everything. It's all, and there's I think about 80,000 that they're pretty sure of right now. There are different species, and every species creates an elegant enzyme or catalyst or a product that is beneficial to the body or can damage the body. That's what bacteria does. It does both things. Because you need bad bacteria in your body to chew up some dead tissues and stuff. It's the same tissue, but it's going to have a little different chemical signature, and you need kind of bacteria that chews into your own body, but only when it's triggered as what they call apoptosis, where it says, hey, I'm ready to go. Come over here and chew me up and kill me. And then your bad bacteria goes to that guy. But it's always there. So it's a fight back and forth. But if you don't have the bad bacteria, you're sick. I'm not kidding you. So it's not just bad bacteria, you got to get rid of all of it. No. It's bad bacteria has to be there to do certain jobs, and good bacteria has to be there to create mucus, all right, to slime this area, the mucosa. It has to create enzymes, which are these chemistry sets, literally unbelievable. And an enzyme and a catalyst, the elegance of that chemistry will floor you. One single molecule can destroy, or let's say change, other molecules in groups of like 1 million or 250,000 or so in 1 second. All right, one molecule can change. It's like spontaneous combustion. It goes all done, millions of them, and that specific spark can go and spark another one. It never goes away until there's nobody left to spark. And then it just gets dissipated. It's the most elegant system that ever existed. However, it's all dependent upon bacteria. If you do not have the bacteria, I don't care what anybody says, you are sick. You are always, no, I can't eat this because I can't digest this type of stuff. Oh, I can't have fats. I can't have sugars. I can't have whatever it is. There's going to be one bacteria in you creates the stuff that, not specifically only one bacteria, but there's a series of bacteria that work on sugars. There's a series of bacteria that work on fats, carbohydrates, everything. Every part of your things that you take in has to be dealt with by a bacteria. There's probably a bacteria that's specifically designed to work on carrots. I'm not kidding you. There is so much elegance in that specific chemistry of these bacteria. When they squirt out something, I'm going to show you right now, this actually happened in real time. And I'm going to try to explain it because we're going to be watching exactly this stuff. And there's what they call immune cells, and then there's other cells. Well, the immune cells have a whole set of chemistry in them, which is all designed to function to create the enzymes, the mucus, the catalysts, all the things to break down the food that's in here that's coming. Because when you eat a carrot, it comes through here, you can't take that carrot and drag it in there and make it work for you. You have to break it down into its molecular pieces. So you might get some little calcium out of that, or some sulfur, or whatever it has in it that your body needs to use. And that is all done by the chemists who are the bacteria. And they create the exact chemistry to break that down. Or that carrot just goes out. It never gets broken down. So you don't get whatever that zinc is or whatever it's looking for inside that particular product. Now you might get it from something else. You might be able to get it out of lettuce or something. But if you have a lot of damage to the bacteria in here, and that's what happens with antibiotics, it just wipes them right out. And then there's other vaccines. The MMR vaccine specifically is a bacterial invader. And Stephanie Seneff up at MIT, she's, I corresponded with her long ago about that because she was the one that actually brought it up. And she's the one that's going after, I forget who it is, that makes the Roundup, which which is a chemistry that is in the ground, just like burn pits, but it's in the ground, and it goes into the food because they spray it on the food. And then we eat that, and it mimics something in the body. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly the details, but there is a chemical that we are ingesting, just like these people at the burn pit. When that stuff is burning, it's all over the food they're eating. Obviously, it's going to be in the same thing. Even if they tried to stop it, they couldn't. There's no way. It's impossible. It's a vapor that's in the air of all of these toxic little particles that have vaporized. But they're still the same particle. You can't get down below that vapor level and say, okay, it's no longer a toxin. It's still a toxin. It's just now finely layered. It's like salt on your food. All right, so let's look a little deeper into what actually happens inside there and actually visually see it. All right, they are going deep into the interstitium layer, and they're going to be looking at the bacteria. They've never been able to do this before. The title of this from Seeker, and this is from Caltech, I think this guy's name is Gokul. It's called Your Textbooks Are Wrong. This is what cells actually look like. And textbooks are wrong in a lot of them, in a lot of ways, but listen to this.
I remember the moment. It's something I will never forget.
Look at the
The hair on my
complexity.
hands just stood up. It's a microscopic universe within each cell.
That's within each cell. Now wait till you see, and these are in the interstitium.
This is an unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can...
Now, let me just make an explanation here while we're going along. Inside of every one of these cells, and interstitium is bigger than that, is all these bacteria. Now, what if these bacteria weren't here? This right here, she's going to be talking about scooping up sugars. Well, I don't believe that's the case. This is an immune cell. And these are bacteria that live in here, and they create a product. This guy got alerted by the scout to say, hey, we got a problem. Go scoop up some mucus and bring it out and squirt it around this particular area because we're trying to be invaded. Watch what happens. And that's my estimation, but watch what they say. All right, I'm going to come back a little bit. Here's what they have to say.
It's a microscopic universe within each cell.
This is an unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can actually see immune cells scooping up sugars in the ear of a zebrafish in real time.
See that
Focusing
go
only
on?
on the crawling immune cells, we've noticed two classes of them. One was not hungry at all, but it was very active in terms of trying to figure out, what the environment is. There was another one that was kind of slouching around with a lot of food in its belly. We can actually conceptualize and visualize and analyze the content.
You see, when he talks about food in its belly, it's collecting up either enzymes or catalysts or mucus, directed by that sniffer cell that doesn't eat anything, just goes around looking through the environment, as I talked about before.
Of each of these cellular compartments in this crawling immune cell as it's kind of scooping up its environment. I mean, that is a level of details no one's seen before.
We're living in a new era of cell biology, where microscopy advancements are giving biologists the opportunity to reveal the hidden patterns of cells. What we expect to learn from here on out will transform our understanding of human health and rewrite the textbooks on the fundamental unit of life.
All right, let me just go a little deeper with this. Okay, so Gokul is a scientist, and he's come up with all these techniques to image these cell biology interactions real time without damaging the cells. So now they want to give this technology to biologists so they can understand. Now listen.
Be opening up the instrument to biologists.
Because the thing is, we can only get so far by ourselves. The goal is to make sure folks that have the ability to have the impact, we want to make sure we break the barriers down, whether it's access to instrument time, whether it's access to computational resources, or working with the computational biologists.
With tools like these soon coming online, biologists like Susan are excited about the next decade of cell.
I just want to mention something. Did you hear what Gokul said? He said, we want everybody to have access to this so that we can get the next step, opening up to biologists.
We only get so far by ourselves. The goal is to make sure folks that have the ability to have the impact, we want to make sure we break the barriers down.
they have to break the barriers down. I cannot get an impact because I am not accepted. I never got a degree from any special school. I've gone to all kinds of schools. I went to Johns Hopkins for genomics. I went to all kinds of schools, but I never paid anybody, so they don't give you a piece of paper. But trust me, if you see that what I'm going to present to you, I am fully qualified to talk in this range, and I now see exactly the things that I have been talking about, and now we can visualize these things. And everything is now becoming visually seen that was always just theoretical before, and they're finding out virtually everything theoretical that they had thought is not exactly what is correct. Your textbooks are wrong. Exactly, go call. Agreed 100%. Now let's just let them finish up here. This is really ultra important. If these guys from these burn pit exposures, all we have to do, I'm saying all we have to do, that's not right. I don't mean that at all. I mean, let's try to repopulate the bacteria and at least see what bacteria is there. If maybe there's no bacteria, maybe it's all fine. I don't know. But I can tell you what, if you don't have the right bacteria in the right places in your body, you're open to invasion, and every one of those diseases is an invasive chemistry set attacking you that you don't have any ability to fight back because your bacteria is not there to do the things that Gokul just showed us happening in these cells. If the bacteria is not there to go collect up all that goop and go deliver it, well, you're sick. All right, so let's let him finish up. Here goes.
Whether it's access to instrument time, whether it's access to computational resources, or working with the computational biologists.
With tools like these soon coming online, biologists like Susan are excited about the next decade of cell biology.
Look at that.
We basically have a little, alien world that none of us can wrap our minds around. And it's all of these technologies that are allowing us to start to do that more intuitively. Imagine a world where you could look at a cell and you know what it's doing, what it has done, and what it will do. That means that you could collect a pathological specimen and without too much perturbation or staining, collect a whole bunch of information and features just from the image that let a pathologist know something about the prognosis of the disease and the mechanism of why that's the case.
All right, that is exactly the key. If you can look in and see what kind of bacteria is there, we're not seeing any of those little blue guys. How come? Let's put some little blue guys back in and see if everything's good. There's so much that we could do to understand this, and I think I already understand it very well. And it is literally 100% of everything in your body is done by bacteria. If you stop and think for 1 second, what does your actual tissues do? They don't do anything at all. They are 100% molecules. What makes those molecules do what they do? It's bacteria. Bacteria gives every command in your body. I can't think of anything that exists biologically that is not controlled by bacteria. In one way or another. It's either directly or indirectly. Directly is all the breakdown of the chemistry is trying to invade you. That's a direct intervention. Indirectly is bacteria build the chemistry that builds your body. They make the products that build the infrastructure for your body. So if you don't have that bacteria going on in there, you have weak membranes. Your eyes don't work well. Your tissue, your skin doesn't keep you protected. You get eczema and acne and all those other things. And they are all related to gut issues. And the gut is where all this stuff originates. This is where all that stuff is made. Your gut, they say, is your second brain. Well, it is more important than your brain. If your gut doesn't work, your brain's not going to work. Because the gut creates enzymes and catalysts and all of that stuff through bacteria that live in the interstitium. And once you get invaded through that, I don't care whether it's in your brain, your gut, every tissue has its own set of bacteria. And if you killed that specific strain of bacteria and it has a specific job and that specific job cannot get done, you are invadable. And that's the pre-existing conditions. I know I keep going over this, but it's so important that people miss it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I hit it 10 times, maybe they'll get it.
There will, of course, be more and more innovation. That's always how it works. But this set of innovation is going to get translated into useful results for everyone.
There's literally trillions of inanimate molecules inside of cells that work together somehow to create life. And that's basically why thousands of...
See what he just said? Inanimate cells. They just, how do they do it? How do they work to make the things life? They're not, you know, they're intelligent. But how do they become intelligent? How do they know how to do the jobs they do? It's an interaction between bacteria. Literally, I believe it's almost like they're factory workers. I'm serious. It's that similar.
Scientists around the world are trying to understand is how life works.
Yeah,
You want to
exactly.
watch the dynamics, the interplay between these molecules in order to really understand the complexity, understand the beauty of what is happening within the cells. Biology is probably one of the last human forefronts, right? It's like the age of exploration again. But instead of looking out at the galaxies, we're looking at the galaxies inside of the cell.
Okay, let me just make a couple of quick points here. This is fabulous technology, and if we could use this to see the actual mechanisms and all that stuff that's going on, and if they could use the different colors to see the different species, which they might be able to, I mean, this would be just unbelievable. However, I don't know exactly how you'd get into these different tissue types to see this. I'm not sure how they did this. They're talking about it being in a zebrafish. I don't know whether they cut a hole in them and poked it in there. I don't know what they did. But this is what we need to do to try to heal people. We need to, the different tissue types in everybody's body has a different bacteria living in those tissues. And the reason is that the bacteria create chemistry. And every part of your body has different chemistry. Your tendons are different, your muscles are different than your kidneys and your lungs and so forth. Anyway, there's a ton of different tissue types. Skin, tissue, and all the different types, and they have different bacteria. So what we have to do is make a map of the entire body. What lives in your arms and your legs and your skin, and what lives in the muscles, what lives in your heart and your lungs and your kidneys and your liver, and all of those places. There's going to be different chemistry, different bacteria. And then we could find out what's living there in a sick person versus a healthy person. Now, again, this techniques, I can't tell you how to do this, but if we could do this, it would be fabulous. And if we could look, excuse me, if we could look at them while they're actually occurring, I mean, how better can it be than that? And because we could interject other things and see what happens to them. This would be fabulous technology to do that. Now, in other words, we put some other bacteria in there, see if it got killed or if it did what it was supposed to do or whatever. Now, we need to create a delivery technique if we can isolate these different bacteria. And then how do we deliver them? Can we deliver them just into the gut? Which is basically, that's the way you deliver almost everything. Fecal transplants work fabulously, they say. I'm not advocating that for sure, but they say they work fabulously. You get feces, literally feces, from someone who is extremely healthy, and you take on that health attribute. And they've had extreme success with it. But if we could just isolate these different bacteria strains, we don't have to take poop from somebody. We can brew them somewhere and then put a bunch of them together and give you all those bacteria at once. Just like from a colonoscopy. I'm not kidding you. That's what they do now for these fecal transplants. And again, I heard fabulous things. Now, so how would we give a direct gastrointestinal gel pills? This is another thing. They're using gel pills now. And what they do is if you have a cancer on your shoulder, they'll drill a little tiny hole right next to that cancer and put a pill in there which has the enzymes that the bacteria would have created anyway. And it's a gel pill, and they call it a drug factory. Well, what it does is water sort of just slowly infuses that right next to it into the cancer. And they've had, last end stage cancers cured within, I think it was like 6 days. I think it tests animals, but, an animal's an animal. Anyway, so gel pills maybe, whatever. but we have to have a delivery device. You can't. It's just wonderful if we know what to do, but if we don't know how to get it to do it, we're nowhere now. So what we want to do is use only naturally occurring bacteria that we can harvest out of these different people's feces. We'll be able to figure this out with a really big, serious push and labs and techniques and everything. This is health for the whole country. The country's in trouble because of the use of antibiotics and these burn pits and all of the different non-natural chemicals that we ingest. We ingest things that would never be, there is no bacteria on the face of the planet that would ever be developed to deal with these chemistry we're dealing with now. It will deal with it if it has enough time and it's not so invasive that you're not overwhelmed. But, people's digestive systems become overwhelmed very easily because they're all fractured and they have all of these literally weak spots in them. That's what pre-existing conditions means. It means you're easily invadable. And easily invadable means your membranes are not protecting you. Your membranes literally are your immune system. So what do we have to do then? We have to use all this natural stuff. And then we have to just monitor it, do a large-scale study, monitor all these people, see what happens, see if their symptoms improve, if the bacteria sticks, if they have now, because most of them are going to have gut issues. If you got a problem with bacteria in your body, normally you're going to have some gastrointestinal issues. They always say, oh yeah, if you got this, it causes your gut to go bad. No, the gut causes the other thing. And we've actually virtually cured autism with altering the gut tissues. Tremendous difference. 9.5 years old, never spoke a word. And at 13 now, he's doing fine. Speaking and having a good time, enjoying life. And the family is just thrilled. And she actually has just been awarded. She actually ended up going to Harvard Medical School to understand this after curing her own son, and by using this basic technique, absolutely basic. And now she's in Ireland, and she's just been awarded whatever they do over there, like a charity status because she's got an autism institute. And the institute has been awarded I don't know, like a non-profit, whatever it is. And she's been, I forget what they give her, she's the administrator of it or something, trustee, something like that. And she's a fabulous lady, and she will do a fabulous job, and a lot of kids will be cured. She knows exactly how to do this. She had to put the powdered form of these pills, of these bacteria in ice cream, because her son wouldn't know no other way he would do it. And they were going to lock him up in a locked ward for the rest of his life. And now he's just virtually back to normal. I mean, he plays, he rides, he does this, he does that. He's communicating, he's happy, they're going to the park together. And just a whole new way of life. Just by something as simple as this. I think we got to look a little deeper.